State your full name.
Virginia Ann Blaney Allen.
State your mother's name.
Catherine Bernard Dunn Blaney.
State your father's name.
William Harold Blaney.
Were you born in this country?
Yes.
When?
September the 21st, 1918.
What was it like growing up?
It was fun.
Where'd you live?
I lived down at the Blaney farm in the stone house, and we lived with our grandparents, Grandma and Granddad Blaney. And I had 3 brothers, and I was the only daughter.
Share some good memories when you were growing up.
Of course, I lived on a farm, and we had milking cows at one time, but I never milked the cows. But my brothers did. But then I enjoyed going out in the hay fields when they were baling hay and sitting on the little hay bales, and it was fun. It was fun.
Do you remember anything special that you and your mom did?
We did a lot together. You had me on the spot, Casey. I remember my mother didn't have she had a driver's license, but I was small, and my grandmother, her mother, lived in Star Junction, and the roads weren't paved then. They were muddy roads, real big ruts, that type of stuff. And I know one time we got stuck in this mud, and I was scared to death. Oh my mother, let's do something. But anyway, we got out. That was a fun time. And I think my brothers were with me at the time.
What kind of odd jobs did you have?
Oh, before I went I helped in the house. Of course, my grandmother was there, and she said, "Well, if you don't want to do it, Virginia, I'll do it." That type of thing, My mother too. So.
Where did you meet your spouse?
There was a little dairy store along the highway down below our farmhouse, and I was in there one evening with a group of girls, and that's where I met Ralph, more or less. And he said something about, when I went out, I knew he was younger than I, and he indicated he was going to ask me for a date and that kind of stuff. And I said, "Oh, he's too young for me. I can't date him." Lo and behold, I married him.
What kind of occupation did your spouse have?
He was a farmer.
What kind of occupation did you have?
I did office work. I worked. I went to office trading school in Uniontown, and I had several jobs. And finally, I ended up in the bank. I worked in the bank.
Is that all you did for the rest of your life, worked in the bank?
Is
that all you did for the rest of your life, work in a bank?
Until I got married, of course.
Then you were a housewife?
Mm-hmm, housewife.
What was school like?
It was nice. Of course, when I was in high school, we didn't have buses back then, of course. And I rode with a friend who lived down below, the Woods Farm. And he worked in the courthouse in Uniontown. So my father knew him, and he made arrangements for me to ride with him.
So that's how you got to high school?
That's how, until my brother Jack got his license.
How did you get to elementary school?
Well, we walked to the schoolhouse.
And that wasn't
my first 6 years or 5 years, I went to a grade school in Star Junction, and lived with my grandmother Dunn down there during the week, and then I'd come home on weekends. And my mother didn't seem to want us to go to school well, she was just very strict. She was a school teacher, see, and she didn't want us to go. And how am I going to say that?
Doesn't matter. What subjects do you remember having? What was your favorite? What did you least like?
I liked history. It's interesting to me. Yes.
What didn't you like?
Algebra and math. I was never very good at it and still aren't to this day.
Where do we get that from?
What types of activities or clubs were you in?
I was a 4-H'er.
Is that all that you remember being
I
in?
belonged to Christian Endeavor in our church youth group.
What was the downtown like years ago?
It was pretty safe.
What stores do you remember?
Kaufman's and Metzler's.
Any prices that you remember?
Anyway.
Prices of things that you remember that stick out in your mind? Like bread or eggs? Or...
Oh, yes. Well, that was very cheap back then. Like 10 cents for a loaf of bread.
Was the downtown busy all the time?
Yes, of course, I didn't shop downtown for groceries because we lived 10 miles out of town and we went to Perryopolis. They had an MP there. So.
What kind of car do you remember having? What kinds of cars?
Well, my parents had a Dodge. They had Dodges. And this one that I rode in and got stuck in the mud, it was open the doors, open. They didn't have any windows or anything, and there was flaps that's the way it was, like a convertible or something, except it was 4 doors. It was a bigger car.
Any other cars you remember having?
Yes, and we had Mother and Dad had Buicks, and then we went to Chevys, and then we had Hudsons. Because Ralph and I had Hudson.
What was your favorite car, would you say? If you had a favorite? They all treat you right?
Yeah, I always sort of cling to Chevrolets, but now I have a Subaru. So.
What did you always want to buy but you couldn't afford?
Or after I got married, or what?
It doesn't matter. Like, any time in your life. You can say younger and later on in your life.
Well, I always wanted to do this house over, farmhouse. That was my wish, and I've done some of it, but there's more to do.
There's nothing that you ever wanted but could never afford.
I need a bathroom downstairs right now.
Okay. Who had more authority in your household, your mom or your dad, growing up? Who punished you?
My mother, I think. Pop was very lenient with us. And of course, as I said, we lived with our grandparents, so there was some conflict there. They were older, and we were taught to respect. That's one thing that I've learned all my life, because when you live with older people, you respect them. I know it was hard for my mother down through these years, but anyway.
What's your favorite thing about growing older?
Oh, my. Don't have to get up in the morning, go to a job.
So not working?
Yeah, not working, one thing.
What's your least favorite thing about growing older?
Well, I'm soon going to be 80, and I kind of dread that. Because you don't have too many years after that.
What would you give advice to young people? What advice would you give to young people today?
a good education, go to college, don't smoke and don't drink. That's my thoughts.
Anything else?
Be kind to each other, respect older people.
What do you feel is the perfect age?
About 39.
Why?
The next step is 40. Half of your life. Half of your life.
What do you feel about women in today's society and what their role is? Do you think they're overdoing it, or do you think they're okay where they are?
Maybe some of them are overdoing it, but in today's society, you have to work to get along. And most families have to, mother and dad have to work because the economy is so bad. So you just have to.
What do you feel about people publicly rebelling against the government? Do you think it's wrong?
Yeah, I think it's wrong. I would never do that. And just take what comes, make the best of it.
What do you feel about traditions? Do you think they're being lost? Do you think that too many people are getting away from tradition? Yes, no?
I think they are. But as you grow older, those are the things you think back and think of in the younger days and that kind of stuff. I think people are getting away from that. And that's sad. That's sad.
Okay, that's it. Thank you.